Hello student. Today we are going to learn some of the most important CSS property. How can we use those CSS property to manipulate the HTML tag? Let us understand today in this class. So as I told you in the previous classes that there are thousands and thousands of CSS property, right? But it is not possible to go and discuss each of those separately in a single class. So that is why we are going to discuss practically some of the most important CSS property, and by doing so we can create websites. So in most of the websites those CSS property are normally used. So we are going to discuss those CSS property today in this class. In the previous two CSS classes I have taught you about 5 types of CSS selector, and also I have taught you about the 3 way of using the CSS style sheet, right? So today in this class I will use the internal way of writing CSS. So that is how we can do it. We have to write the style opening tag and style closing tag, and that is to be written inside the head portion, right? This is the way of using the internal CSS. So let us start. So in between the style we are going to use the selector, and we are going to declare the CSS property. So before we write the name of the selector, let us use a HTML element. So we will apply the CSS to this heading tag. So we have taken a h1 heading. So let me write something over here. I will write here, this is my first heading element, right? So this is I have written here inside the body, and I will apply the CSS to this heading. To do this, let me use the element selector. So among 5 types of selector that I have discussed in the previous class, I will use the element selector. So we are going to indicate the h1 heading that is written inside the body section. So to indicate this h1 heading, I will use the element selector, and the name of the element must be h1. Then only it can direct and manipulate the default property of this heading. So let me start writing. So now we will declare the CSS property inside this curly bracket. So let me first give a background color. So we are going to apply the background color. So what will be the background color? Let us make it yellow. So the background color of this heading will be yellow. First let us see. You can see the background color of this heading is yellow. So now I will do one thing. I will change this color to red. That is the text color. To change the text color you just have to write the color. So this color property will change the text color, right? So text color will be red, right? Now see, done. Now I will write width property. So width will be 500px. So I have written the width for this heading, that will be 500px. So one thing you observe, the default width of this h1 heading, that is 100%. That means it will take the width of full screen. So whatever screen size you are going to use for that particular device, so you may use a laptop or a desktop or a mobile phone or a tablet. So by default the width of the heading is full size of the device, right? So here it has taken full size, but now I have written here the width will be 500px only, right? So let me refresh the browser and let me see how much it occupies the width. You can see the width that has been manipulated. Previously the width was 100%, but now it has only occupied 500 px, right? Now I will do one thing. I will increase the width to 800 px. So let me see how much space, how much width it occupies. So this much width it has occupied, right? Now I will do one thing. I will bring this right at the center. Okay, to bring it right at the center, I will write here text align, right? Text align will be, I can use text align right. Let me show you. If I write text align right, what will happen? So we can see previously this text was aligned to its left. By default it will align to its left, but once I have written here the text align will be right for this heading and refresh the browser, you can see the text will now align to right. So this is the width of the heading, and this text will align at the right side. So you can see it has aligned at the right side, okay, as per the width of the heading is concerned. So if I want to bring it at the center of this yellow space, that means center of this heading, so here I will write center, CENTER, right? So you can see once I have written center, it will appear right at the center. Okay, so now I want to increase the height. So I want to increase the height of this heading, right? To increase the height, you can write here height, let's say 100 px. So if you write 100 px height, so you can see the height of the heading that is extended to 100 px, right? The heading height has been extended to 100 px. So I want to increase the font size. This is the default font size of the H1 heading. So if I had to increase the font size or decrease the font size, I can do it by writing font size. So font size, let me give a font size 40 px. So let's see 40 px, how much it increase if I write 40 px. So if I write 40 px, you can see the font size has been increased further, right? So I can also decrease the font size if I make it 16. So the size will decrease, you can see, right? So if I remove this, we can see this is the default size, right? Now let me give a size. Let me keep a size, font size, let's say 44 px. Okay, so 44 px will be the font size. So the size has been increased. Now notice one thing, that we have a space over here just below this text, right? So if I had to bring this text right at the center, if I want to align this text vertical center, now it has aligned to horizontal center, not vertical center, right? If I had to align this thing to vertical center, so here instead of using just height parameter, or you can see the height property, so I will use line height property. Okay, line height property. If I use the line height property, you can see it will now appear at the vertical center, right? So now if I want to get this heading, full heading, this yellow box, that is the heading, right at the center of the browser, okay, if I had to do that, I simply can use the center tag. So we have discussed about the center tag quite before in the HTML class. So by applying the center tag, we can easily get it at the center. This thing we can do, right? But there is another way of doing this. Okay, so instead of using the center tag, I can also use margin. So if I write margin, let's say I want to apply margin. Margin means we normally discussed about the margin in while using Microsoft Word, right? So if I open this Microsoft Word document, so you can see my cursor is blinking, and if I start writing something over here, that this is my what, can you observe one thing, that this text that I have written over here has started after lifting some margin at the top and at the right, at the left side, right? So this is the margin. Can you see my cursor moving? So this is the margin, and this is also the margin. So, and if I write this thing, okay, so if I do like this, I want to show you one thing, that let me show you. Oh, just observe, see, can you see the margin top is this much, margin left is this much, margin right is this much. So this is the margin. So we can also manipulate the margin. We can have narrow margin where the text area for writing that will increase. If you decrease the margin, the text area for writing that will increase, and if you increase the margin, if you increase the margin area of the document, so you can see that time the text area that will reduced, right? Though this is what is margin, so the same margin we are going to apply over here, right? So I told you that after I have removed the center tag, so it will appear right at the edge of the browser. It will start from the left. So now I want to push this here. That means this heading will be starting right from here. I want this heading to be start right from here. That means I want to apply some margin at the left. I will push the heading. So just let me write here margin, margin left. So the left side I want to give some margin, let's say 200 px, right? So you can see I will push the text from the left side by applying the margin. Just see 200 px margin, right? I have given at the left side. So to make it right at the center, you can see the space that is left at the right side is more than the margin that I have given, that I have applied at the left. So if I do one thing, if I increase the margin to 240 px, so I hope it will appear at the center. So okay, so let me make it to 260 px. Let's see. Now I think it will appear. Now you can see this yellow heading, okay, it has appeared right at the center. This is, I'm talking about the horizontal center. So how I have done it, I have applied the left margin property, CSS property. Previously the heading that was started right from the edge, okay, so that means it has started from the left side without any margin. But now I have applied some left margin so that it can come at the center. So now it appeared right at the center, right? Now if I want to push it downside here, if I want to push it downside so that it will also appear at the vertical center, this yellow heading, full heading, okay, then I can do one thing, I can push this thing by giving margin from the top. So if I write here margin top, right, that is, let's say 300 px, I am pushing it from the top. Previously I have given margin left, now I will give margin top. So you can see, so I have given more margin, so it appeared, just it has taken some more margin, so I have to reduce the margin. If I reduce the margin to, let's say 260, I think it will appear, yes, now it appeared right at the center, horizontal center and vertical center. Why? Because I have applied certain margin, right? So you can see at the right and left I have not applied the margin, but it has the margin. It has the margin that you can't some space. So by default it has occupied some space. It is not at the margin, but it has occupied some space at the right side, as because the width that I have declared, that is the width was, you can see, 800 px, and the margin left was 260 px. So you can see 260 px margin left, 800 px, that is the width of the heading, and some space is left at the right. So I have not applied the margin, but some space is left over here. So if I apply the margin right, let's say another 260 px, okay, if I do it, then you can see no changes. So as I told you, by default it has taken some space. Why? Because as far the width was 800 px and the margin was 260 px, so some space was left. So how can you understand that I have given margin at the right side? So only that could be understood if I do one thing. If I increase the width here to, let's say, 1200 px, now you will understand that here I have given margin right, and this margin right has been applied. Now you can understand, after I have given width of this heading to that is 1200 px. Now let us see. Can you see horizontal bar appeared? Horizontal bar appeared just at the bottom to drag it, right? So now if you notice, so margin left, margin right, margin top, okay, so you can see. So now instead of writing this thing separately, I can also write just margin, right? If I just write margin, that means it will take margin from all the sides, right? If you once write margin 260 px, that means it will occupy the margin space along all four sides of the element, right? So you can see, okay, if I remove this and check it now, let's see, this is the default, right? Now if I again apply the margin to 60 px, you can see it will take margin from all the sides, right? See. So now as I have used this selector, if I take another H1 heading, okay, so let me take another H1 heading. Let me write here, this is my second heading, right? So I have written this is my second heading. Now two H1 heading I have taken. So here what I have done, I have used the element type selector, right? That is why it will indicate to both this H1 heading, right? And these two heading will inherit the properties from here that I have declared inside the style, right? Let me see, let me show you. Can you see? So margin top, margin left, margin bottom, you can see. Now the second heading has also occupied margin left, margin top, margin bottom, okay. So let me move forward, let me show you some more thing, okay. So now I will write here, let's see, box shadow, okay, another CSS property that I am showing you, that is box shadow. So it will put a shadow alongside, okay, as we as we normally see the shadow of any object in real life, same shadow it will create for the given element, right? Let's see. I will write here, let's say 2px black. Now let us see how it comes out in the appearing. Let's see, can you see? So I hope you have understood. See, so to make it clear, I will do one thing. I will make it short. I will make it short. Okay, so I have reduced the width, okay, so that it will be short enough. Okay, so now you can see the box shadow properly. So this is the box shadow. Can you see the box shadow? So if I increase the box shadow, let's say 20px, so this is the value, this is the CSS property. So you can see I have in the value section I have 4 parameters, that is 20px, after that 2px, after that another 2px, and then the color, right? So what I have done, the changes 20px, that I have changed for the first parameter. So if I do so, you can see this shadow that has been pushed 20px from its starting. So 20px it will appear at the right side. Okay, I have pushed the shadow 20px here, and that will comes out here, right at the right side. Okay, so now if I increase this one, if I make it again say 2px, and it will comes out like this. This is the default. Okay, 2px, only 2px margin is taken, 2px margin just came out from the right side. Now I will increase this one to 20px. Let's see how it comes out over here. So see, from the top, you can see from the top it has taken margin 20px. You can see this much 20px that has been pushed from the top. So this is from the left, this will pushed from the left, this will pushed from the top, right? This is how it will create the shadow, the length of the shadow. Can you see? This parameter value will pushed from the left, this parameter value will pushed the shadow from the top. You can see how it has, you can see how this thing has come out, right? This thing has come out in this manner. Now if I increase this thing, this parameter, if I increase to let's say 20px, so now see, after increasing that parameter, can you see what changes, the changes that has taken place over here? So it has spread it. So if you increase this parameter, that is the third parameter, what it will do, it will spread the color. So it will just spread the color. The further more you will increase the value for this parameter, it will spread the color, right? If you make it again 10px, so it will not spread that much. The more you will increase the value, the more it will spread. And you can also change the color. I will make it red now. Let's see, a red border will appear, right? This is how we can apply the box shadow. Okay, this is how we can apply the box shadow. If I make it 4 and 6 and 10, let me see how it appears. So this is how it will appear. So this is how you can use the box shadow in good effect to design your web page, right? So let me now show you another thing, that is text shadow. You can also use the text as like the box shadow. You can also use the text shadow. Let's see, let me write 2px. In the value you will have the same parameter, it will work in same way. Say 2px and let's say black. Okay, let me see. So can you see the text shadow a black color shadow appeared just behind the text, right? So if you increase this parameter to 10px, you can see it will work in same manner. So pushed at the right side, if you increase it to 10px, it will push from the top, it will comes down, right? So let me make it 2 and if I go and make it let it be 6, then you can see it will spread the black color that has been sprayed. I can also change the color. I can make it, let's say, yellow, not yellow because it will match with the background. I will make it white. If I go and make it white, so let's see now. So you can see we have a whitish background, right? Whitish background. Okay, so let me make it blue or green so that it could be observed, because yellow and white both are light color now, that is why it was not reflecting as much. Now it has reflected, right? It has reflected fine enough, so I can make you understand how you can use a text shadow and box shadow. So now let me show you how you can apply the CSS in an image file. So to show you that, I will do one thing. I will take an image, so image element, right? So I will take an image element and let me do it. Let me search for an image. I will find a cartoon Tom and Jerry image, right? So let me get it. Yes, I will take this image, or I may take this image. I will save the image inside the folder. Let's say this folder only. I will name it 1. Okay, I will take some more image. Let me save the image as 2. Okay, so okay, so I have taken some image. Okay, okay, fine. So how many image I have taken? Let me check out how many image I have downloaded. 4 image I have downloaded. Okay, 4 image. I will work with this 4 image. So let's see here. I will just put the image 1. If the image is not found, I will throw a message that image not found. So if I copy this thing 4 times, right? Now I have taken 4 images now, so I will just change the image one by one. I will go and change the image, right? So 4 image I have taken. Now let's see how it appears. So this is the 4 image I have taken. Now I will apply CSS to all these images, right? So let me show you. See, let me use the element type selector. So I will just write img, right? This img is going to this img selector, this is element type selector, will indicate to all these 4 image, right? So let me declare the css property. So I will declare the css property, that is width. The width will be, let's say, 400 px. Okay, height will be, let's say, 360 px. So after I have done this certain changes, only width and height I have applied. So let me see how it appears now after changing it. You can see, so I have increased the width and height. If I increase it further, let's say width will be 500 and it will be let's say 400. Let's see now. So right now I will show you. I want to create the border. So see, border, I can create border for both heading and image, or you can say I can create border to any element, right? So let's see, I will create a border, 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 let's say 2px solid red. So this is the thickness of the border, that is 2px. I will have solid border and the color of the border will be red. So this border property will apply to all 4 images, right? Can you see a border, right? So if I increase this thickness, if I make it to 10px, the thickness will increase, you can see, right? So I can also apply border to heading also. You can see if I just copy this and if I just go and paste it here inside this declaration of heading, so you can see the heading will also have a border. See, so border can be applied to any given HTML element. So now see, so border can be of different types. So this is one type of border, that is solid. Now I will show you another border type, that is dashed border. So previously we have experienced the solid border. Now we are going to experience the dashed border, right? Let me see. See, this is solid border that I have applied to the heading, so that I have not changed. In the heading section we have the solid border, but in the image we have the dashed border. See, this is the solid border and this is the dashed border. You can see the dashed border, how it appears, right? Now see, there is another type of border, that is dotted border. So note down all these type of border, dotted border. See, it will appear dot. Okay, dotted border. And let me show you another, that is double border. See, double border, 2 border will appear. See, 2 border will appear. So to apply the double border, you need to increase the thickness, because I will explain you. Let me explain it to you why I have increased the thickness. So observe, double border has appeared. So the thickness is 16 px that I have applied. So 16 px, that means starting from here, first border to the second border, and the 16 px includes this white space that has been provided between these 2 border. Okay, so why I have increased the that is to 16 px, because this is 16 px that includes top border, that is first border, second border, that is the bottom border, and also this white space, that is given inside. So these 3 thing is included in this 16 px. If you make it solid, then you can understand very easily that these 3 thing has been included, right? That is why I have told you to give more thickness. See, I hope you have understood. So now I will do another thing. I will increase the padding. So we have discussed about the margin, but what is padding? Do you know what is padding? So before I apply the padding, let me apply the margin. So now I will apply margin. Okay, let me apply margin to all 4 images. So as I have written just margin, I can also use margin left. I want to apply the margin from the left side only, right? From the left side. So let me apply margin left 20 px. So you can see. So you know that if I write margin, it will take margin from all 4 sides. So I don't want to take a margin from all the sides. So that is why I have just written margin left. So it will only have margin left from the left. So here I have margin for this picture. We have margin from the left. For this picture also we have margin from the left. We also have taken margin left, that is of 20 px for this the last picture. So now if I write here margin top 20 px, now you can observe, see 20 px margin I have here at the top. Okay, so for this picture I have margin 20 px top, 20 px left. Here also I have got margin 20 px top, 20 px left, right? So now I will show you padding, but before I start showing you for the padding, another thing I have missed out. Let me show you. So this border will automatically create a border for all 4 sides. Okay, see all 4 sides I have got the border. So here I have taken solid border in all 4 sides. So let me show you here. Let me apply it to the H1 heading. So I will write here border left. See, so instead of just simply writing border, I have written border left. That I have applied. This declaration I have written here inside this heading H1 selector. So that is why it will be applicable for the 2 headings, right? Let me show you. Can you see? Only we have border at the left. So if I write here border right, border right, let's say 10 px, right? Solid black, or you can take it green, or you can also take it red, or any color you can take it. Let's say, let me show you. Now I have got border left and right. Okay, you can see over here border left and border right, and I have not applied border top or border bottom. Okay, you can separately write it. Border top, you can make it to 40 px. Okay, you can have separate border thickness to separate edges, different edges of a element can have different thickness of border, different color of border, different style of border. I can make it dashed border. Okay, black dashed border, right? I can make the right border to dotted. I can increase the thickness also. I can make it 20 px violet. The top border I have made it 40 px thickness, dashed black color. Okay, you can see top border is having 40 px of thickness, and this is dashed border of black color, and the left side border that is of 10 px red, right side we have 20 px violet border, and the bottom side we can have, let's say 30 px, say double border, okay, of colored green. So you can separately write border left, right, top, bottom having different thickness, different color, different style. Okay, so it doesn't look good, but for your understanding purpose I am showing you that how you can apply. Okay, this doesn't seems to be very attractive and professional, but you have to know this thing so that as per the requirement arises you can exercise with this implementation, right? So let me now start showing you the padding. So I will now apply padding to this image. So let me come up with the image portion. So this is the image portion. What is padding? See, padding, I will write padding left 20 px. So unlike the margin, padding, that is actually the inside margin of an element. So if you apply padding, that means you are applying the inside space or some inside extra space, or you can say inside margin for the given element. So for the images I have applied padding left, and that is to 20 px. So let me see the changes. So let me refresh the browser. Can you see the images has taken some space? You can see all the images has taken some extra space, right? Some extra space it has taken from the left. So if I make it padding right, that is 20 px again. So let me see. So if I make it 50 px, I can we will have better chance to observe. So the observation will be better. See, 20 px right, 20 px left. We have padding in either side, right? So we have increased. Can you see the padding? The padding has added with the width. So as I have taken the horizontal padding, that is left and right padding, so horizontal width of the image that has been increased. So padding will add with the width of the element and it will increase the size. So you can see width has been increased because I have added padding. So padding is the inside extra space, or you can say the inside extra margin. So what was the margin? Margin was the outside margin, outside space. So by applying margin we can take outside space. The object or the element will start after having some outside space that will be left out as a margin, and if you apply the padding, so it will take some inside space inside of the objects, right? You can see inside space has been taken. Now if I take padding top to, let's say 50 px, and padding bottom, let's say 50 px. Now let us see, in all sides I have given padding of 50 px. So top and bottom padding also has been added. Now after I do replacement, you can see padding has been added in all four sides. That is inside space has been added, some inside space. Try to understand. Okay, so now I can also add the background color. Before I add the background color, let me show you one thing. I can simply write, instead of writing, if I had to apply the padding in all four sides, that is also equal padding, so I can simply write just padding. So if in any situation I have to decide the padding will be different, let's say this will be 70 px right side padding, top padding will be 20 px, and bottom padding will be 10 px. So if I had to apply different padding, different space to different edges, so different side, so for this I can use this separately. Can you see? So it just comes up with the second line because I have increased the padding, the size was not accommodated. If I make it to 40, you can see, if you observe, you can see one thing, that this is 20 px, this is 10 px, this is 40 px, and this is 50 px. So different padding size I have taken. But if I had to apply same padding thickness to all four sides, then I can simply write here padding padding, that will be 50 px. So simply if I write this, so I need not require to write padding separately for 4 all side, because as I want to give 50 px padding to all 4 side, same padding thickness to all 4 side, same padding space to all 4 sides, I can simply write padding 50 px. You can see it will take 50 px padding from all 4 side, right? If I remove this, you can see it will release all the padding space, but once I add this, then it will take this 50 px padding from all 4 side, right? Now let me add the background color. See, so I will add the background color. Can you see background color? And let me add the color. So I am using the NetBeans text editor. So in this text editor, if I just space the control key from the keyboard and the space bar together, this color palette will appear. So I can choose color from here, any color I can choose from here, and I have chosen orange. So I could have written orange, but I have chosen orange from the color palette. There are many colors. So if I do this, and you can see I have applied the background color. Can you see the background color? Okay, so I can make it to yellow also. Again I have selected the same thing. So this color I will apply. You can see the changes will take place. So you can see background color has been changed, the padding portion is appeared. So you have understood certain things. So let me show you some more things. So see, now I will apply another CSS property to this image section. So let's say border radius. So now I will apply the border radius. So what does this particular border radius do? Let us observe. So here I will write, let's say 50 px, 50 px, 50 px, 50 px, right? So I have written 50 px 4 times, right? So let us see how it appears. Can you see the curveness of the image? So the border has converted to a radius shape. This is how it will take a circular form. So if you increase the parameter, you can see if I want to do certain changes, if I want to have all the 4 sides having different curveness or different circular form in all the 4 sides. So if I make it to 100, you can see the first parameter of the value I have made it 100. So you can see the first edge, this is how it is starting. The first edge has taken 100 px border radius, and other 3 edges are having 50 px. So now if I make this one to, let's say, 200. Now see, this one will be affected. See 200. So this one is having more circular curveness than the first one. This is 100, this is 200, and these two are 50, right? And if I make it to, let's say, 10, so let's see, 10, very little curveness. This is made to 10 and this is kept 50, you can see. And if we want to have same curveness in all 4 sides, apart from writing like this, let's say 100, this will have same curveness in all 4 sides, right? 100, 100, 100, 100. See, same curveness it has in all 4 sides, right? So instead of writing 4 times, I can simply write once. So this will also give same curveness in all 4 sides. See, so let me show you. After I remove this, you can see the curveness will disappear. The curveness will disappear. Now let me add again. So after I have added the border radius, the carbonase will appear again. So I hope you have understood how to work with this border radius CSS property, and you can use this to a tremendous effect to design your web pages, right? So I will show you another thing. If you make it to 50%, so see what I have added here. I have written 50%. So if you write 50%, then what will happen? See, this 50% will just make this square look to fully a circular shape. See, right? So if you apply the border radius to 50%, then it will just appear like a circle, right? It will just appear like a circle. So to make a circular div or to make a circular element, you can apply the border radius to the value of 50%. I hope you have understood. So let me apply the border radius to this heading also. So I will apply border radius. You can apply border radius to any given object, right? So let's say I will make it the first edge, the first starting edge for this heading. So this will have 100 carbonase, right? 100 px carbonase. I will make it 100 px, okay? And then this will also have the carbonase of, let's say, 100 px, right? And this will have the carbonase of 200 px, and this will have the carbonase of 200 px. So let me make it 200 px and 200, right? So let me show you how it appears. 100, 100, 200, 200. See, so if I do the refreshment, you can see 100, 100, 200 and 200. This is how it appeared, right? Okay, so now let me here after the image I will take another heading, let's say H6 heading. Now I will work with the H6 heading. This is the smallest heading, so I will write here this is the smallest heading, right? So now see, you can see H6 I have written over here. This is the smallest heading. So as I have not written any CSS for H6, it will appear its default with its default CSS property, but now I will apply CSS for H6. So for the H6 I will write here that width that will be, let's say, 300 px, right? First let me background color. I will give the background color that will be red, okay? And the text color will be white. Text color will be white. So after I have added these three property, I have changed these three property. Let me see how it appears. Can you see? Background color is converted to red, text color is white. So now I will do one thing. I will increase the width to 500 px. So let us see, width has been increased. Now I will also increase the height. Height will be 80 px. Height will be 80 px. Height will be 80 px. I told you that instead of height, if I write line height, so if I write line height, okay, then it will appear right at the vertical center. So now I will do one thing. I will increase the font size. So I will change the default font size. I will make it to 40 px, right? So by default it was the smallest text heading, but I have changed the font size to 40px. Now let me see, it will appear with 40px, right. Now I will do one thing, I want to increase the margin, so I will give margin at the left. How much margin? Let me give 300px. So I will push it from the left side so that it will appear here. So I have applied margin left, that is of 300px. Can you see my this bar that appeared at my right side, and this is a vertical bar, right? So this is at the bottom, I have drawn it at the bottom. If I add some more margin bottom, so by default this heading has certain margin, right, at the bottom. Okay, if I write here margin bottom 0px, then what will happen? See, margin bottom 0px, I have applied this for H6 heading. Now if you go and refresh, you can see previously it has some margin by default that has some margin at the bottom. I have removed that margin. Now if I again add the margin, if I make it 500px, now you see over here, can you see this bar? I can pull this vertical bar till here because I have a margin space of this much for this H6 heading. So now this H6 heading has the margin of how much? 500px. See, 500px. If I make it to 200px, let's see how much margin it will take. See, now if I do the refreshment, you can see 200px margin at the bottom it has, right? So if I increase the width, see, width 500px, if I make it to 600px width, the width will increase. So if I had to make it right at the center, I will write here, see, text align. Note down all the CSS property. Text align center. I can use text align right, text align center, text align left. Left you need not require to right because by default it will align at the left. Left you need not require to right. If you don't mention, then also it will appear at the left. So if you want to make it at the center, you will write text align center. If you want to make it at the right side, you will write text align right. So then you can see this will appear right at the center because I have written center, right. Now see, here I will write another CSS property. See, transform. Okay, transform. See, transform skew x, right, 15, right. So just observe what I have written over here. Can you see? Transform SKEW, skew, transform skew, okay, x. So it will skew the object. This transformation will happen for this H6 heading. What kind of transformation? A skew type of transformation. So a skew type of transformation in which axis? In x axis. How much? To 15 degree. If I make it to 25 degree, you can see I can make it to 25 degree, right. So if I make it to minus 25 degree, you can see it will take the transformation in other side, right. And if I make it to x axis, now this transformation will skew the object to a different axis, that is x axis, right. So I hope you have understood how to use this parameter. So now I will do it skew x axis, how much? To 15 degree. Let's see, minus 15 degree. Okay, I hope you have understood to use this skew. Okay, so now another thing, so I will show you how you can use the hover effect. Okay, hover effect. So let me show you the hover effect. So I want that if the user, that means who is accessing this web page, bring the mouse cursor over this H6 heading, then there will be certain changes of CSS property. Okay, so for that I have to write here again H6, but now I will add here hover. So there will be certain changes of CSS property. If the user hover, that means if user will bring the mouse over that element, then there will be certain changes, right? So now what changes that has to be implemented, that I will write over here. So those changes will be declared over here. So let's see. So I will write here background color. So background color I will change this to green. Okay, background color will be green, and there will be some transformation, right? Transformation will be in skewed transformation, and that will be skew x in the x axis. How much? Okay, so it will be, let's say, 5 degree. Okay, so before, you can observe here, before the user will bring the mouse cursor over the object, the H6 will have a skewed transformation to minus 15 degree. But once the user will bring the mouse, or you can say once the user will hover to that particular object, then the skewed transformation will be decreased. It will not be anymore 15 degree, it will be only 5 degree, and the background color will be changed. That will be green. Previously the background color was red, but after the user will bring the mouse over the H6 heading, that time this two CSS property will play its role. Okay, these two changes will be executed. The first one is background color will be green, from red it will turn to green, and 15 degree will turn to 5 degree. Let us see. Let me do the refreshment. See, this is my mouse cursor. Once I bring it to here, you can see the changes. Can you see the changes? So this is called hover effect, right? So this is the hover effect, and also I will show you, instead of using this, I can also add something more over here, transformation and rotate. I can also use transformation rotate to how much? Let's say it will rotate to 5 degree. It will rotate to 5 degree. So see, another hover effect I have added. Can you see that object is rotating? So if I make it to, let's say, 90 degree, it will rotate to 90 degree. So once the user will bring the cursor over this H6 heading, the object will rotate to 90 degree. Let us see. So now I will show you another thing. If you observe, so very quickly this changes is taking place. So I want to reduce the time span of this changing of CSS property, right? So we have to apply the transition period, right? Now here I will add transition duration. That means how long it will take, that I am applying. So it will take a particular time period for executing all these CSS property. Let's say 2s, that means 2 seconds. So to implement these 3 CSS changes, it will take 2 seconds. It will not happen instantly. Till now it was happening instantly. Once the user was getting the mouse cursor over that object, this CSS property was implementing its effect instantly, but now I have set a time duration. So this transition period for this CSS property will take around 2 seconds, right? So let me show you. See, so I have refreshed the browser. Now if I, this is my mouse cursor, if I bring the mouse cursor over this object, you can see how long it is taking. It is not happening instantly, so it is taking some time, that is 2 seconds, right? So if I do one thing, if I increase the time period to 5 seconds, then it will be much slower, the process will be executed much slower. So this changes will happen, the color, background color will change to green, the transformation will happen in x-axis, it will have a skew effect to 5 degree, it will reduce the effect, but it will take time to 5 seconds, and the rotation will also take place, but it will happen in 5 seconds. So if you check the process, you can see I have made it quite slow. It has been taking 5 seconds. Okay, it has been taking 5 seconds for executing this process, right? So I hope you have understood how to execute the CSS. So I've discussed some of the important CSS that you can implement in your web pages, and I hope you have understood, and you need lots of practice. So you have to practice whatever I have taught you today. This is some of the very important CSS you can apply to your web pages, to your HTML element that you are going to write inside the body section only. And so I have used the internal way of writing CSS. You can use the external way of writing CSS, no matter. You can also use the inline CSS, that is also work. So thank you for watching till the end, and in the next class I will show you how you can create a menu for a website. Thank you.